to go to bed.
Hello, and welcome into the starters. I'm Dave. That is George, and that is Simon. How's it going, boys?
What's going on, boys?
Evening, gentlemen.
Is it do I look like a little too rosé, or what's going on?
You look a little rosé. You got a little rosé going.
I don't know what your what's going on with your camera.
You know that I'm computer illiterate here, so I don't know. Like, I know I've been out in the sun a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you, but
I mean,
myself
your lighting. We might need to work on your lighting.
Yeah, you got some lighting issues. I would
yeah, maybe it could be the lighting. I don't know.
I mean, you don't look bad. You don't look bad.
I'm just saying. Okay.
All right, we'll jump right into it. We finally got some rumors to discuss. We don't normally talk about rumors, but some interesting ones going around here in mid-August. Michael DeRosa from the Hockey News is reporting that the Canadiens reportedly have interest in Jared McCann. You would assume that's 40 goal scorer Jared McCann from the Seattle Kraken.
You
guys, yes. But I mean, you've got to assume that he would probably. I mean, if this is true, and if there's any credence to the rumor that Ken Hughes is looking at him possibly to fill that 2C spot, he's played some center before. But I just want to get your take on it. Is it? Do you guys like? Would you be in favor of targeting someone like Jared McCann or not? We'll start with you, Simon.
You had me at 40 goals, Dave. Even if it's a former 40 goal scorer. Look, my biggest concern is, so you'll always get my attention. I don't think Kirby Dach is going to be ready. And depending on who you believe and who you hear, it doesn't look like he may be ready. So, but let's just say he is ready. The void between him, or the discrepancy between him and Nick Suzuki, I think is too great. And you're asking a guy who hasn't played a lot of competitive hockey in 2 years. It's not 1 year, it's 2 years. And even to go back to last year in Chicago, it wasn't a complete clean bill of health. I don't think Alex Newhook is a second-line center. So my biggest concern is to find somebody to fit that void who plays with a little bit of an offensive mind. I also want to appease Demidov and Patrick Laine, who I have penciled in as at least to start the season on that second line. And Alex Newhook and Kirby Dach, perfect. Until Kirby Dach gets his legs beneath him and all that, on a nice third line, getting the matchups that Martin St. Louis wants, I think is all a good thing. But again, Dave, once you mention anybody who has played in the NHL in the last couple of years and is not planning on retiring in October, who's scored over 30 goals, good age, I don't think I'm going to say no to anybody. So add him to the lists of Matt Duchene from 4 months ago, and the Matthew Barzals, and the Nazem Kadris, and everybody else you can possibly imagine that we brought up in this podcast. So let's start this again. Mention a center who knows how to play a little bit of offense. I'm all in, Dave, because I don't like to start the season with Kirby Dach or Alex Newhook as a second-line center. So you've got my attention, Dave. Try to do it.
All right. George?
I absolutely despise this rumor. It is absolutely ridiculous. Jared McCann is not a center. We'll start with that.
40 played center, but not a
42%.
He's supposed to have like 11 centers in Seattle, right?
Yes, he's 42% in the face-off zone. That's not very good. Scored 6 of his 40 as a center. He's not a center. So what are we talking about? So we're going to bring this guy in if it's to play wing. Hey, I'm in if he's going to play wing. He doesn't solve the problem, though. He doesn't solve the problem. We need to stop. I don't know where this rumor, the traction is coming from. I guess they got too many centers. It makes sense that the Canadiens will take just about anybody. At this point, they're looking at Simon and Dave to play as center. That's what it's looking like because they're getting desperate.
I don't come back in my own end. Remember Bill Murray? And, what was that? The Jordan movie there with the cartoons?
Yes.
They asked him to play defense, and he said, "I don't play defense."
I don't play defense. Well, I can tell you, it seems a rumor of desperation more than anything. I don't see.
I thought you would love it.
I don't.
Because
I really don't.
Your one mandate has been to get Patrick Laine off this team.
Yeah, but I like Jared McCann, the player, and I'll take Jared McCann, the player. I just don't take him to fill that hole that the Canadiens have. So if I have tools to trade, if I have a second round pick. I put in Joshua Roy, whose name seems to be coming up often. Doesn't seem like there's a spot for him on this team, so his name is coming up very often. If I'm going to trade these tools that I have in my war chest to acquire somebody, I'm not going to look for a winger. I need to solve the 2C problem. And I agree with you, Simon. If we're going to go and get somebody here, it's because we need to insulate Laine and Demidov to a certain extent. You know, we can't put him there with a guy that's 42% in the faceoff circle, and doesn't make sense. Find a center. There's got to be somebody. There's got to be someone available. If you got to overpay. Bring in a center. Jared McCann's not the answer at center. If you're telling me we get Jared McCann for a 6th round pick and try him out at center, hey, I'm in on that. But I don't think the Kraken would do that. I don't see Ron Francis doing that, because Ron Francis would be looking for a job real quick if they did that. So it's going to cost something. And if you're going to trade those things to get Jared McCann, well, then you're not going to get a center for sure. So I'm out on McCann unless the price is really low and got to look for a center.
What about if McCann comes in and plays wing and you can, move off Patrick Laine? Isn't that something that you would like?
I would, depending on the price. Again, it's the price, because I think right now the Montreal Canadiens, the deciding factor if they make the playoffs or not is the acquisition of a second center. I really believe that. I don't know if it's the biggest difference, but my God, you're starting yourself in a hole in the Atlantic Division. You're in a big hole.
That second one.
You know, there is hope that a guy like Newhook or a guy like Villano step up. They have shown in the past offensive numbers. They have shown, not in the NHL, but in other places, they have shown offensive numbers. So the hope is maybe somebody from the inside comes up.
Yeah, but I mean, you would take a Joe Villano or a Newhook over Jared McCann at center?
Not if I have to pay Jared McCann.
But Jared McCann has an amazing contract, right? 2 years, $5 million. And that's very good.
But I'm saying if I have to pay to acquire Jared McCann,
right, but if it's a 2nd round pick, if it's Joshua Roy and let's say someone like Engstrom or anybody that's in,
that's all it is. Joshua Roy's not part of the solution.
I'm not worried about losing Joshua Roy. What I'm worried about is, do I have enough tools after that to enough? Am I weaponized enough to make a trade at the trade deadline when I'm going to need it?
No, and that's the one thing you can say, that if you want to be critical of the Bolduc acquisition, it was, and I think the Bolduc acquisition got a lot of positive reviews. But for those who didn't love it, I think they have every right not to love it, because I think the one thing you can bring to the table, and I would still make that trade, is Logan Mailloux might have been one of 3 pieces you needed to acquire.
Agreed.
Run down all the centers since January, right? So,
but I feel it's basically the same thing we're doing. If we go and get McCann, it's the same thing as getting Bolduc. It's the exact same thing. You're getting again another good piece, but it's not the piece you need.
No,
you understand? That's what the issue is. You need a guy that can come play center, win faceoffs, take a little bit of the pressure off a guy like Nick Suzuki, so you can use him a little bit better. Right now there's too much on Nick Suzuki's plate, and I think Simon makes such a great point. You're not insulating a rookie in Demidov. You're not insulating this guy.
That's a very good point as well. Yeah. So don't hesitate to let us know how you guys think, listeners. I mean, if you think it's a good idea, if they think they should be targeting Jared McCann, if you like him more on the wing or at center, don't hesitate to let us know in the comments section. All right, guys. I just want to switch over right before we leave to Demidov. You mentioned them before. I want to do an over/under game with you guys. I'm going to put the over/under at, let's say, 60.5 points. 60.5. 60.5. Over/under the amount of points next year for Demidov.
That's a tough one. I believe Jagr in his rookie season, which is always the guy I go off for some reason on elite players' rookie season. I believe he had 30 goals and 30 assists. Could I be wrong? Or 30 and 20, something like that. He was in and around. So I'm gonna say under, but with the caveat that it'll hover in and around 60 points. So I'm gonna say under, because I always use Jagr as the example.
That's very fair.
Yeah, I know it is, isn't it? I always
so 20 27 goals, Jagger,
Yes.
and 30 points in 80 games. So 30 assists, so 57 points in 80
So
games.
I'm going to say in and around what Jagger got. And of course, Jagger is one of the top 5 best players ever to play hockey. But a whole different time era as well, right? We're not talking, we're talking the 90s, and we're not talking 2025. But I just think that's kind of for elite superstar player rookie, 60 points is what you're looking to get out of a rookie that is the next one, if you want, for the team. And so I'm going to say under, very slightly under, 58, 57, 56, but under. I'm going to play it safe, a la Price is Right.
Before Simon goes, doesn't that just put into perspective how crazy Lane Hutson's season is?
It's absolutely insane.
66 points for a defenseman. It's
insane.
Absolutely
Yes.
crazy.
It was. See, I know that I spoke about it today with Sean Starr in the morning show, and a lot of the easy comparables we pick up immediately is Celebrini and Michkov. But I think those guys, and I don't watch a lot of Sharks hockey and even less Philadelphia Flyers hockey, right? But I think they were just given the green light. Like Ivan Demidov can't have bad nights in his own end that lead to the opposition's goals. This team is going to be fighting, I believe, for a playoffs one. If you ask me if they're going to play a playoff team, I'm going to say yes. So the other guys can just, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, fire wagon, freewheeling hockey with little to no consequences if things went sour. There's going to be times where Ivan Demidov has to be responsible in his own end, because the point on the board is the difference between you passing the Sens or ending the night 1 point behind the Sens in the standings. So I don't think he's going to get the free reign that the other guys did. I don't think the coach is going to also the type of guy that just allows you to be free range out there. That's one. Two, over 60 points with Kirby Dach, Alex Newhook, maybe Jake Evans as your center. Okay, if he does it, wrap up another Calder Trophy. I think it's very difficult to do. Kirby Dach's going to be trying to get his game going back to where it once was when he played in Chicago. Alex Newhook on the full-time regular, I don't think I like the pace with Demidov, but I don't think the offense comes as easy to him as other quote-unquote second-line centers. And on the power play, I think Slav is going to get his looks, his ability to tip, his ability to get in front of the blue ice. Patrick Laine is going to be with Cole Caulfield on that spot of the ice. Nick Suzuki is the 92nd regular. Lane Hudson, Noah Dobson, maybe Lane Hudson and Mike Matheson, maybe Lane Hudson and Demidov. I don't know. But I think Dobson and Hudson get their looks. Like I said, Suzuki's got his spot. Slav gets the first look until it doesn't work. And Patrick Laine is on the other side with Cole Caulfield sharing those minutes. So it's not like he's just going to walk into an abundance of power play time, where Lane Hudson last year made a nice little living on the power play, and Mike Matheson the year prior to that. So I don't think he jumps into first unit power play immediately. I don't think he's going to get a lot of help right now from what I see as the center ice position. And he's going to be asked to play a better game than Celebrini, Michkov, Kirill Kaprizov when he came into the league with those teams. I believe, I'm not sure about the Wild team, but clearly those two other teams were non-playoff teams, and they just let their young players go. So for those reasons, I'm going to say under 60 and a half, but 50, 55 is 48, and playing well is nothing wrong with that either, right, on a second line. But I'll take under the 60 and a half there.
I agree with the Celebrini part for sure. I think you make an excellent point there. Michkov did play for John Tortorella, who did pin him to the bench for a couple of scenarios too.
But the young man's number total even more impressive.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, I like your guys' takes. I like your guy. The comparison to Jaromir Jagr, very fair. I like it a lot. And
you are compared to Jagger's first year, Lemieux's first year, Ovi's first year.
You know what? You got to know when you're comparing Jagr to Demidov, that doesn't look so bad. But when you're comparing Louis LeBlanc to Jagr, the problems tend to happen a little bit more. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, anywhere you follow us at The Starters 690. And we'll catch you later. Thanks, boys.
Go Air Canada Union.